Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I probably fly that American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. All right, it is Friday. Everyone is probably already jonesing to get out of the office early on this beautiful Friday before an extended holiday weekend. It's me, Micah Campo. What is up? Happy Friday. Tracy St. Clair watching over on YouTube. Good morning and Merry Christmas. Corey Buchan says TGIF. Carla Isted, top of the morning to you. And Stuart the Hobby Trucker, good morning. Yes, Merry Christmas, as Tracy said. And I truly, truly mean this, you guys. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I hope you guys all have a phenomenal holiday weekend with your family. And I know some people are going to be taking, the next week off and everything else to spend time with your loved ones. So get out there and do that and enjoy your Christmas and everything, you guys. And I'm going to be here. Like, I'll be going live and stuff next week because, like, we're moving freight, right? Like, we got stuff going on. I'm going to be working. So if you guys are going to be working as well, feel free to tune in. We'll be breaking down some headlines and everything just Tuesday through Friday next week. Obviously, I'm not going to go live on Christmas Day because I don't plan on getting divorced. And my wife would do that if I did that on Christmas Day. But let me see here. Chonrad Vansky, happy Christmas and happy holidays. Enjoy. Today's Q&A day, you guys. Every single Friday out there. Before we do any of those things, though, brand new episode with Stephen Tittle, aka Papa Freight, is out and available right now, you guys. And we talked about him and his company building up Gateway inside of his niche and everything, and him taking all of that and building it into what it is today. And he does a lot of government contracting work, works with outside providers, and then he has also built up his team as well. It's a really good story. I can't wait to have him back on, you guys, but that's available right now. All right, you guys. So Fridays are Q&A day, as you know. I have people who DM me questions throughout the week, and I answer them live on today's on every single Friday. So if you have anything you want answered, drop it in the chat, you guys, on the live stream, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, it all gets filtered through here, and I will answer them live on the show. But I got a couple that came in already, and I'm going to start with them. Again, if you do DM them to me, you guys, everything remains anonymous. I don't need to put anybody's name out there or, list anything off specifically. Everything is anonymous. Let me see here. Sonny Sharma, good morning, Orange Shirt Gang. Merry Christmas, Freight Freaks. Amen to that, Sonny. All right, first question that I got. Says, hi, Chris, happy holidays. I'd like to hear your opinion on this. When there is a lumper fee, sometimes they only take a T-check or an EFS check as a carrier. It costs us money to get the code, but we never get that reimbursed. Also, for a large broker, I won't list the name, they charge us, the carrier, if we need the money code from them to pay the lumper. As a carrier, I don't think this is fair. What is your opinion on it? Thank you. I got a lot of opinions on this, a lot. And it has everything to do with accessorials in general, right? So anytime that there is a lumper on a load, as a carrier, you should be made aware of this prior to accepting the load. If the brokers that you are working with don't know that there's a lumper on it, I wouldn't want to work with that broker, because I did food and beverage loads for the first 5 years that I've done, or that I worked in this industry. And every single time that there was a lumper on it, we were made aware of it. And then you pass that information along to the carriers as well to let them know, like, hey, there's going to be a lumper. Kroger's, for example, hypothetical. Kroger's have always had lumpers at it, at least for the times that I delivered there. We would always make the carrier aware of it so they could bring cash if they needed, because you get reimbursed for that as a carrier. So I want to answer that part of this question. If there is a $100 lumper fee at the receiver, you get reimbursed of it from the broker, okay? Because the broker is billing their customer for that. So make sure you get all of that in writing. Because everybody knows about this, right? Like Sonny, I'd like to get your opinion, because Sonny does a lot of protein loads, right? Like he does a ton of reefer freight out there. What's your policy on lumper fees and everything? Because with me, they should be made aware of it, because, like, again, brokers out there are going to say, yeah, we can get you a com check, but there's always a fee associated with that. Well, okay, not always, at least from what this individual is describing in their question. Seems like it's still a common theme out there that there is a fee every time a broker would issue a com check, a T check, or anything to get them money to pay those lumpers. That's not right, right? Like, at the end of the day, especially if they don't tell you about it. But if you're in the booking process and they say, hey, there's a $100 lumper, we can issue you a com check to pay that lumper. They should waive that fee, in all reality, is what should happen if there is one on there. But if they don't, they should make you aware of it so you are known to do that. And I know that for all my driver friends who watch this show, I get it. There's a lot of shitbag brokers out there, okay? We're not here to talk about that, though. We're just here to bring awareness and what you can do to bring this stuff to it. So I would find out on the front end. And if there is, say they're like, no, there's no lumper, and then they show up and there's a lumper fee, and then they got to cut a comp check, tell them that you there is no fee for this, because you never told me that there was going to be a lumper. That's what I would do in that instance, because, here's a little thing. I can't prove this everywhere, but I see enough chatter out there that brokers turn these accessorials into profit centers, okay? They turn them into profit centers. They're going to tell the customer one thing, and then they're not going to pay you the full amount, or they're going to put some bullshit out there that they're not going to reimburse you for that lumper. There is 100% certainty that if there's a lumper on that load, that broker is billing their customer for that lumper. Okay. 100% that is happening. And if they try and not pay you for it after you paid it, they are pocketing that money. I would recommend calling the customer and letting that customer know exactly what happened in that instance. I think that, let me see here. Sonny says, well, we tell our carriers in advance that there's going to be a lumper, and that is the right thing to do. If you're out there and you guys need some freight, go to Zems Inc. if you guys hawk reefer. Let me see. Sonny also says, yep, the fee should not be the driver's responsibility. It shouldn't be the driver's responsibility. Paying the lumper, I feel, again, I don't, like, in open deck and heavy haul, we don't have lumpers. All right. We pay for cranes. And guess what? Cranes get their money before they even touch anything at all. Right. So, like, you're prepaying for that stuff. So I wonder if this would be a thing. If you're a broker out there, why can't you call the lumper and pay the lumper direct? Why does the driver have to do that? I'm actually just thinking about this for the first time. Why does the driver have to pay the lumper if you know that there's going to be a lumper? Why doesn't the broker go direct to the lumper service and pay them for that? Because, like, again, in the open deck world, I had a crane offload 2 weeks ago. I had to prepay that crane, but like, the driver wasn't going to pay him. I prepaid the crane. Because the crane company said, either you ACH us this money today or we're not going to touch your truck tomorrow. So I wonder if that's the thing. And, again, brokers, that might be something for you to look into, to be a value add as you're out there prospecting. All right. That's what I would recommend as a way to separate yourself out there, is call the lumper services and pay them direct. I think that would be, something out there. But again, people make money on this stuff, right? Like the EFT checks and the com checks and everything, and that there's brokers that charge them if they need the money code. So of course they're probably not going to do that, because again, they turn this shit into a revenue stream, right? From my perspective, when it boils down to it, if I request a layover, and this is just accessorials in general, because I'm going to go off on this because this stuff pisses me off. beyond belief. How brokers out there take and they'll charge customers detention, but they won't pay the carriers detention and everything. Because to me, inside of my organization, it's a complete pass through expense. If you request $400 for detention, layover, whatever, I'm just arbitrary number. I go to my customer, I request $400, and then I pay you direct from that because I'm just not dealing with that anymore. Because I got called out on my bullshit early on in my career, and I won't do that ever again. So if you're hauling a load for Chris Jolly or my company, and you request $150 of detention or a layover or whatever, you're getting paid the full amount. We're not pocketing anything because like I despise that behavior. Absolutely despise it. And I think that there are so many carriers out there that get absolutely railroaded by that stuff because brokers are out there operating in a shady ass manner, and it's just the reality. Let me see here. Stuart, the hobby trucker, says because if the load is shifted, there is a restack fee and the price goes up. No, for sure. But what I'm saying is, Stuart, is like say you're hauling a load for me, you bump the dock, and then the com chat or the lumper service, say all of that happens. Me as the broker, I call them and they're like, hey, it's going to be $400, and then I pay them direct as opposed to having you do it because it's like, why shouldn't I have that as a broker, right? Like I should be paying the lumper service direct. The driver shouldn't be paying that at all. Even if there is a restack or anything else where they pop the seal, they're like, yep, it's going to be X amount. And then I transfer that money directly to the lumper service. So let me see here. Steven Tittle, what's up? See, I told you guys he's coming on. He says he's good. He says, good morning, late to the show, but let's rock that real news. And then Sonny says that is funds that the driver has earned and the broker did not earn that money. Yes. And Sonny's talking about the accessorials. And that's the thing, you guys, like get all of this shit in writing, right? Like get all of it in writing when you're dealing with the broker. Okay. Make sure they do that. And then, like I'm not going to sit here and say, hold the load hostage or do anything like that. But it takes 5 seconds to send a revised rate con over. Like you don't need to get approval on that stuff at least from my perspective. Like that's my job as a broker, right? Like if I'm my carrier should never have to worry about that. If they come to me and say, I need $150 for detention or $150 for a layover, again, complete arbitrary amounts here, you guys. But if they come to me and I'm going to get that from my customer, I'm going to send them a revised rate confirmation right away so they know that they get their money. And then I will not fight my customer, but I'll request that from my customer. And then when they approve it, I know I'll be good to go. And then at the end of the day, if you have a customer that doesn't approve it and there's a very valid claim, I would question if you would ever want to work with that customer long term because things happen, right? It's not the driver's responsibility to wait around for free because of what happens that's outside of their control, right? And then I think brokers, we need to do a better job of this, and you got to stop withholding these funds, right? Like I'm not going to get into any tit for tat here, but you're going to work yourself out of a lot of opportunities coming into when this market shifts next. People might put up with this shit now, but they're not going to when the market shifts and everything else. So for you, my friend who DM'd me that question about the lumper fees, I responded to you this morning and said that I'd answer it on the show. So I answered it for you, and you should have got a DM from me on that as well. So that was my opinion on lumper fees and everything. Robert Cowton says, good morning. As the broker, I always call the shipper before we send the load confirmation to confirm the load is ready. Hours. Same with consignee. Make it easy for carriers and customers. I don't know if you meant to say consigners, but I'm gonna say that. That's it, man. It's always about making it easy for your carriers and your customers. All right, you guys, if you guys have any other questions, drop them in the chat. I'll answer them live on the show here. The next one that I got is about separating for yourself from your competition in 2024. How do I go about gaining market share? I'm just going to speak on my example. And again, you guys, the beauty of my podcast and everything is I'm actually in the industry. I'm actually building a freight brokerage. I'm actually moving freight, actually cold calling and dealing with all of this stuff every single day. I'm not just talking about this shit. I put my money where my mouth was, and I'm making this happen. Here's what I think is going to be the greatest separator in 2024. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've always done here. And I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going back to the basics, you guys. I'm going back to blocking and tackling. I'm going back to ultra efficient communication. As Robert said here in this comment, call the shipper, call the receiver, confirm the load is ready, confirm the hours, confirm everything. Updates, updates, updates. Every single shipment that we move inside of my brokerage has a minimum, I'm trying to count this out in my head here, of 10 points of contact between me and my customer for every single load of communication. Multiple updates before the load picks, multiple updates in transit, multiple updates on the load on the day of delivery. I think that that is the level that's out there because again, like I've talked about on the show, technology is great if you can afford it, right? But if you're looking to separate yourself, again, I've never had a customer, any of the customers that I'm working with right now, not one of them have said, what's your automation look like? What's your tech stack look like? There's not one that have said that. What they want to know is are you going to actually fucking move the freight that you agree to? All right. But here's the thing. You're going to make mistakes, right? Like we failed on a load. I admitted that we failed on a load. We've changed our processes. We let them know about 6 hours prior to them closing that day, but we're going to change it up and we're going to do it even, even longer because I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. And I'm just going to not make the same mistake twice though. But I think that if you're going to separate yourself from your competition going into next year, because it's all a crapshoot, right? Like in all reality, you guys, there is a lot of stuff that is outside of our control that could change the entire landscape of the transportation market. Look at what's going on. There's two wars that are going on in Europe right now, or in the Middle East right now, excuse me, and everything. There's two of those going on that are affecting global trade. There's a lot of crazy shit going on here in the United States that could really shake things up if stuff falls out. So it's all an educated guess on what's going to happen. It really, really is. But I think from my perspective, though, again, you got to control what you can control, right? We can control our communication. We can control our updates. And you have to be committed to the fact, you guys, that every single opportunity that you get out there has to be treated as you are doing everything to gain your next opportunity. I see this a lot. And you know what? Frankly, I am busy. I'm probably guilty of this in my career. You start getting consistent business and then you start getting lazy, right? You start thinking that you're entitled to your customer's business. And then you maybe, when you got in the door, you were ultra communicative, you were providing phenomenal service. And then you know what? You get comfortable, you get complacent, and then you're like, I don't need to send that update. I don't need to do that. They're going to give me that load no matter what. If that's your mentality going into next year, I will fucking decimate you. All right? Because I will not miss. I will do my absolute best to bring that exact same level of service and communication on every single shipment. I know this stuff takes time, right? Like there's some false narrative out there that you can just get customers freight and all of a sudden become a millionaire overnight. That is far from reality, right? So I'm going to use a customer example from inside of my brokerage. We've been set up with them since January of this year. We only moved probably 10 loads for them in the first 11 and a half months of this year. All right. All we did was what we could do, right? We executed on those opportunities. And that's what we were focusing on, executing. This exact example must have happened because I moved 15 shipments with them in the last 15 days. Okay. The first 11 and a half months, 10 total shipments. We moved 15 shipments with them in the last 15 days. And I had a conversation with my customer. All right. I'm not going to go into the details about what they said, but it's essentially describing what I was talking about right there, you guys. People, once you get in the door, you get lazy, right? Eventually, right? You get complacent. If you remove yourself from participating in that behavior, if you approach every single shipment that you move for your customers with the exact same level of urgency, the exact same attention to detail, you will decimate your competition in 2024. That is truly how I think that you are going to separate yourself out there. All right. That is it. You're going to go in there and you're going to decimate them if you go up and you treat every single shipment as a job interview to get the next one. All right. You take that approach. That's when good things are going to happen for your book of business. So I truly feel like that's how you separate yourself next year out there. Let me see here. Stephen Tittle says market share shouldn't be a benchmark, in my opinion. Create your own market and grow it. That's what differentiates in 2024. I love that approach, and I'm right there with you, man. I can only control what I can control and grow my market share no matter what. John Radvansky says that telephone is such a valuable and underutilized tool. Amen. Robert Cowton says, use your TMS to enter shipper and consignee instructions. This allows you to build your team and anyone around you, that you can service a customer by having internal transparency for a great customer experience. I think that is a phenomenal piece of advice there, you guys. Create customer profiles, right? And again, credit to Robert Cowton here, because this is his comment. Create customer profiles inside of your TMS. Go in depth. Is there a specific dock door that the driver has to check into upon arrival? Is there specific billing requirements that have to come after the load delivers? Track all of that stuff and then execute upon that so you have an SOP, you guys. Systemize your processes, all right? Systemize it and then execute and build off of that. Tim Wells says, you are right, coach. Communication and transparency is the key. Appreciate that. And thank you, Robert, for this. He says, great job in 2023 with your show. Wishing you a great 2024. We're coming for it, guys, right? Like we're coming to continue to bring this information out there. Again, I'm active in this. I'm building this out. Our goal is to hire 10 people next year. Our goal is to hit $30 million in revenue next year inside of my brokerage. That's what we're going to accomplish. And again, I'm going to just continue to bring this stuff through my shows every single week. I'm not going to take the time off around the holidays. Like I had said, I'm going to work because I'm out there actively prospecting right now. And I think that there's a high probability that I'm going to get access to some freight with the new customer here over this next week. And don't worry, I'll let you guys all know when that happens. SP Freight, what is up? Says, laughing my ass off. Somebody is smoking crack if they think that. I don't know what that's alluding to because I don't know when this comment came through, but I like it. Let me see here, you guys. So I think one thing to kind of bring up, though, I thought it was pretty cool. I know that this came out, that presidential candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy, came out. He met at the I-80 truck stop last night, the largest truck stop in North America. Bill McIntyre, what's up, brother? He's watching over on YouTube. Happy Friday. Let's go. I think this is sweet, right? Like, I think this is so sick that Vivek went out there and is talking about trucking. I don't remember any presidential candidate or anybody running to ever do this. All right. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But I don't remember any of them ever doing this. And I also, he had said, each of us deserve to live in a country where we're each allowed to achieve the maximum of our potential, said Ramaswamy, talking about the American dream. Shout out to that. That's what's up. I don't think that's the case today for the way that we're treating truckers in this country, who are the backbone of our economy and are the invisible glue that holds the supply chain together. I could not agree with that more than that statement right there. We talk about this all the time. The truck drivers, they are the backbone of our economy. Our industry, you guys, the transportation industry, is what holds this country together. Okay. And I love seeing this. And then it goes on. Truck driver Lee Schmidt. Sorry, I'm pulling this from FreightWaves. Sorry, I forgot to say that. They put an article about this summarizing this. Truck driver Lee Schmidt of CDL Drivers Unlimited, a new membership alliance for truck drivers, asked questions submitted by drivers after Ramaswamy delivered a brief introduction. And then the conversation touched upon a slew of trucker issues, including the risk of technology, mental health, speed limiters, and reforms of the DOT and the FMCSA. And then the ideas I'm sharing with you, these aren't black and white ideas, Ramaswamy said. These aren't even Democrat or Republican ideas. They shouldn't be. This is common sense. American ideas to say that every person should be free from regulatory overreach. That's what's up. That every person should be free to achieve their maximum potential without anybody standing in their way. I could not agree more with that statement. You guys, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe in the free market. I believe in all of what he's saying here. And then it goes on to say that there are more than 2 million truck drivers in the United States. However, presidential candidates very rarely speak with the drivers and their concerns. And then he goes on to say, Ramaswamy says, we will say no to the World Economic Forum and the standards of the 2030 emission standards for truckers. Zero emissions by 2030, says the World Economic Forum. He says truck no. I say fuck no to that, because yeah, I'm right there with him on that, because the zero emission standards is just an absolute onslaught. I've gone into this enough on this show, but I am 1000% against all of that stuff. And then Ramaswamy says that the DOT needs to study driver retention over recruitment, which again, maybe Ramaswamy's been listening to the show, because I've said that all the time, that there's a retention issue inside of this industry. I don't know. Vivek, if you or your people are listening to this right now, I'd love to have you come on, even if it's for 5 minutes, to talk about this. And then let me see here. It says time on, what was this last one? Ramaswamy policy drills down on hours of service. And then he states that he believes that better parking availability would be a larger boon to driver safety. Yeah, we've talked about the trucker. And then he also brought up, this is interesting, I didn't even see this till now, says it's time to crack down on broker fraud. Ramaswamy's trucking policy turns away from California's AB5 law, which I've said on the show before, AB5 is an absolute joke. Ramaswamy said AB5's test to determine whether an independent contractor is an employee could undermine good practices out there. And he said compliance monitoring, educational programs, maybe used in the driver employees. And then the IRS's more open-ended checklist would be better way to tackle employee misclassification. And then let me see here. Brokers are hold on. Sorry. Ramaswamy's policy said that this investigatory might be used to investigate brokers' fraud and increase broker transparency. Brokers are the intermediaries out there. And then the TIA, which represents freight brokers, told John Gallagher that the rules are overdue, but a huge step forward in addressing potential financial fraud and making sure that the funds to protect motor carriers and brokers. I just think that this is sick to see us in our industry being talked of in that manner, right? Like we never really get this attention. I love that Vivek took this stance, went to the largest truck stop in the United States and had these conversations, right? I think that it's phenomenal to see. And yeah, we need to give our truck drivers voices. I think it's time, as I've said, like all of these agencies that are overseeing our industry should probably be filled with people who have actually done the job before. I can't say this for certainty, but I do not think Pete Buttigieg ever drove a truck. So I think that those are those types of roles. Like the Department of Transportation should be ran by transportation professionals who have actually worked in the industry and dealt with this stuff. The FMCSA, same thing. We need to have people in Washington in these roles that have actually done the jobs before instead of theorized about it or are politically fucking appointed in here. I think it's detrimental to our industry to continue down this route. And I love to see Vivek out there advocating for truckers at the I-80 truck stop. But that is going to be Michelle LeBlanc. What is up? Happy almost Christmas Friday. Merry Christmas to you, Michelle. Michelle's with Drop and Hook content, you guys. If you guys want a quality company, hit up Michelle. She can help you guys out. Let me see here. Robert, I probably saw that. I'm sorry, man. I might have overlooked that. Just find a new customer. Yeah, man. It's that easy, right? Sonny Sharma says amen to that. But that's going to be it for today, you guys. We'll be back next week for our live show. Thank you guys so much for your guys' support and showing up every single day, week in and week out. It means the world to me. Like legitimately, I like I've said before, like I truly feel like what I'm doing on this show and is what I was put on this earth to do by God, to utilize my voice to help elevate others. And I truly feel that way. And you guys showing up all the time to support me in this endeavor means the world to me. I can't thank you guys all enough for helping my dreams come true, because that is what this is every single time that I get to go live. This is just a dream come true to be able to come up here and talk and help people. So thank you guys so much. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I appreciate you all. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.